In today's world of market volatility and uncertainty, your retirement plans need to be front and center. With ever-changing tax laws, healthcare worries, and an unpredictable stock market, don't overlook the vulnerability in your retirement planning. Protecting your family and estate will be difficult with shifting policies in Washington. It's more important than ever to keep an eye on retirement.
Hi, and welcome into Eye on Retirement, the weekly show that keeps you in the know about all things retirement. I'm your host and financial advisor, Rick Everett, along with the full complement of panelists for this episode, to include Financial Advisor Matt Goolsby with Market Advisory Group, our lead CPA with Market Tax Services, Joshua Cicora, one of our many Medicare professionals with Market Medicare Advisors, Cory Hiebert, and our lead attorney with Eidelman Law Firm, our estate planning firm, Gerald Eidelman. Welcome in, panel. Thanks for tuning in. We're the weekly resource that helps you stay in the know about all things retirement. And don't forget, you can submit your questions on our website at eyeonretirement.com. We may even use them on an upcoming show. We're a full-service retirement firm right here in town, helping navigate tax, Medicare, estate planning, and financial advice all under one roof for your convenience. One of our stories this week, Matt, is about Maria. Tell us how Maria came to know Market Advisory Group.
Well, we will host classes, educational ones, around the metro, whether it's Medicare, estate planning, taxes, retirement, or Social Security 101. And if you ever want to go to any of our classes, you can reach out there at our website at marketadvisorygroup.com, and up at the top there's a classes tab, and you can go there and they can see what classes could be in their area and different topics that they might be wanting to know more about. But as she came to this class, I'm really glad she came in for a one-on-one consultation because, see, here's the thing. She started her Social Security before she was what was called her full retirement age. And she started collecting that, and she kept working. And if you're going to start your Social Security and keep working a job, there's income, and I say income, earned income for our tax professionals. He would correct me with that. There's earned income, meaning like job, employment income, numbers you have to stay under if you have not reached your full retirement age yet, or you'll trigger a penalty. So last year, when she started her Social Security and worked, she went over this income amount by $4,123. And Social Security sent her a letter then this year once she filed her taxes, and they realized, oh, they send you this letter and they say, we overpaid you. And people are like, they overpaid me? When you break the rules of the program, they send you this letter saying they overpaid you. And they would gladly take the money back from her in the form of a check or credit card or whatever, and she had to pay about $2,000 by the time September came around. Well, this class was a couple weeks ago, and she's worried how she's going to be able to afford this $2,000 because she told her work, hey, I'm collecting Social Security and they're going to reduce it because they said I made too much money. So now work has cut her hours, and she's not having enough income coming in, and now she's worried how she's going to pay this $2,000. And I said, well, hold the phone. How old are you? And she turns her full retirement age this year in October, which means she can make $56,520 in working wages or earned income. And that was a big sense of relief to her because she was worried how she was going to come up with this $2,000 to help pay back Social Security.
So when it comes to Medicare, I understand that Maria wanted to keep her Medicare with the same company she had while she was on her health insurance that was provided through the employer, to keep things the same?
Yeah, there's a well-known company. I'm sure maybe most people have their health insurance through them when they're working at a job. It's a pretty well-known company. That company also handles Medicare supplements. And she was under this opinion when I was talking with her. She said, well, I just wanted to stay with the same company so it covered me the same way because I have this and this going on in my health situation. And she didn't want to, she had fear of changing health plans and what it could do to her. So she went with this health plan with the same company that had her employer in health insurance, but it wasn't the most maybe cost effective. And so we went down the hall and grabbed a Medicare advisor to come in and answer some of those questions.
So, Cory, is it pretty common when people are switching from employer-funded health insurance to what Medicare has to offer, they think that they have the best thing going and don't want to switch?
Yeah, I mean, it's not uncommon that whenever we talk about health insurance companies, people find something that they like and they don't want to change. So maybe they've been with their employer for 10, 15, 20 years, and they've always had the same exact insurance company. So when it comes to Medicare planning and they look and say, oh, well, the same company that's taken care of me all these years can still take care of me, they tend to shut down and not look at anything else. So in Maria's situation, there was two catch-22s on this. And number one is she was looking towards a Medicare supplement, and the company that was doing her employer's plan, they offer a supplement, but they're the only supplement in the state that does a Medicare Select supplement. And the catch with the Select supplement is it's the only type of supplement that'll limit what hospitals and providers you can see, where any other company would give her national access.
She was pretty surprised when Cory was walking her through that to learn that if she had cancer, she couldn't go down to MD Anderson or
Mayo Clinic.
Thank you, Mayo. And because she had some family history with cancer, and she was really concerned. She goes, well, then what do I need to do? And Cory and his team walked her through that.
Yeah, absolutely. So the first part was talking about the Medicare supplement and making sure that we had that national coverage. But then she was also told that they would handle everything when it came to her Medicare. And she hadn't even considered the fact that the supplement doesn't cover prescription drugs. So there were two major things that we had to take a look at, and we actually ended up not going with the company she had been with all those years.
It almost sounds like a well-known insurance carrier just trying to keep a client regardless of the client's best interest.
That's why we have a team here always looking out for their interests.
Now, Matt, did she have an estate plan in place?
You know, that's a good question. I'm glad you brought that up. She didn't think she needed one. She says, well, I don't have much. That was her words. She had $100,000 in a retirement account. But the thing that kind of put something on my radar was she told me her mother was in a nursing home. And I said, well, how's your mother covering that? She goes, well, after we sold Mom's house and used that money to pay for her care, it didn't go quite as far as we thought, so we had to apply for Medicaid. And I said, you're not married and you don't have kids, Maria? She goes, yeah, no. And as an advisor, I can't give legal or estate planning advice, but what happens since we meet with people on a daily basis, with their reviews or just meeting them for the first time, we hear things. And when we hear those things, they're kind of triggers to say, you know, I think we really need to go down the hall and grab one of our estate planning attorneys to have this conversation in more detail.
Gerald Eidelman with Eidelman Law Firm, you came into the picture with Maria. Tell us what you found and how you helped to guide the path to the proper path.
Yeah, there's a couple of things I think that Maria had misconception that estate plan was all about passing assets after you died. The reality is that estate plan is composed of several other parts. And one of the incredibly important parts for Maria, since she didn't have a spouse, no children, was to have powers of attorney. If something would happen to Maria and there were no powers of attorney, somebody would actually have to go to court to get control over her assets and help her pay her bills, or get a guardianship to be able to make health determinations. So I made her aware of the danger that she was staying in by not making any changes. But of course, the biggest bomb here was that she had no children or spouse to leave her assets to, and she didn't have a will, so the automatic beneficiary, based on state law, would have been her mother. Well, her mother was in Medicaid. If something happened to Maria, Mom would inherit $100,000. And when she does, she gets kicked off of Medicaid because you cannot receive Medicaid when you have more than $2,000 of assets. So she would have had to spend $98,000 when in reality, her brother could have gotten that money and used it for much better purposes instead of disqualifying Mom from Medicaid, which then, after all that money would have been spent, she would have to re-qualify for Medicaid, and that is not mean feat.
Before we leave this story, one of the things that caught my ear, Joshua, our lead CPA with Market Tax Services, is that she was going to continue working, but yet collect Social Security. So is there a rule of thumb people should go by as far as when you're working and collecting Social Security, as far as setting aside for taxes because she was doing both?
Yeah, when we talk to people who are having these, we like to talk about it as being a transition. They're going from fully working to fully retired. So it's a transition to get from one to the other. And we talk about it's important to constantly review your withholding situation as you move through this transition period. So we sat down with Maria. We talked about the income sources she had, her working wages, the Social Security. We sat down with her and we talked about how much of that Social Security was going to become taxable. So then we compared that income situation and the taxes that was going to be generated with the withholdings that were coming off of her wage income that she was collecting, and identified where the shortfall was. And then we were able to talk about which lever we wanted to adjust to deal with that shortfall. Do we want to increase the withholdings on the working wages, or do we want to turn on withholdings for Social Security? There's different implications to both, and so we needed to discuss what was going to happen, the rest of this year, even into next year, to decide, to turn on Social Security withholdings and then what level to do it, because it works differently than that wage income. And so we needed to discuss how that all worked.
One client and an entire team coming together for their benefit. And another stellar example of if any piece of that team is missing, the retirement plan would have a missing component. So who's your team? Who's looking out for your best interest in retirement? If you'd like to set up a complimentary, no-obligation consultation, our operators are standing by right now to take your call at 316-252-8707. Again, that number is 316-252-8707. And be sure and check out our website at ionretirement.com. Back with more right after this.
Out on the water, there is a moment. Perfect synchronization. The team working together in harmony to reach their goal. Now, imagine finding a team of financial professionals to help run your course down the river of retirement. Market Advisory Group is that team. Financial advisors, tax professionals, estate planning attorneys, and Medicare advisors, all in the same boat. If you don't have a team like this in one place, it can become a hassle to relay information between them. When you come to Market Advisory Group, we bring everyone together for you to get you answers in real time, to help make sure you don't miss something that puts your unique plan off course. You shouldn't be the one doing all the work to keep your retirement on pace. You should have a team in the boat with you. Your voice telling them where you're at, where you'd like to end up, and how you want to get there. And at that point, everyone falls into sync, all pulling in the same direction, toward the same purpose. Your retirement's financial security. We are Market Advisory Group, proud sponsor of Shocker Rowing.
Hi, and welcome back into Ion Retirement. In our last segment, we shared about Maria, who attended one of our Social Security classes that was given across the metro, and after coming in for a consultation with our team, realized that she could benefit from the entire team's approach to effective retirement planning. If you'd like to see where one of our workshops is for you to attend across the metro area, simply go to marketadvisorygroup.com, and then once you're on the site, click the Classes tab. Our next story is about Mark and Deborah. Matt, share with us.
Well, on this theme, since we're talking about working and collecting Social Security, I figured we'd continue this theme on the other end, where husband and wife, Mark and Deborah. They've been a client of ours for 5-6 years now. I mean, maybe longer than that. He's an engineer, and he started retiring, and then he said, I got this offer for some contract work to go back and consult. And he started his Social Security, but he realized quickly this contract job started paying him more money than he'd anticipated. And he was going to go over that income amount, that earned income amount in the working wages. So, of course, then he had tax questions, and he had, well, should I organize my firm as an LLC? He had all these different questions, and I said, you know what, Mark, I'm going to go get the whole team, and we're going to bring him in here. But turns out this job, like I said, was paying him more, and it was going to be a problem. Then he said, well, maybe should I send back my Social Security? And that had tax implications to it.
You get the news you're going to make more than you thought. You would think that's really good news, but it does create some hurdles when you're collecting Social Security. Joshua?
Yeah, this gets to be a pretty complicated process pretty quick. So yeah, you send back the Social Security, and eventually they register that you have sent it back and you unwind the whole thing. But frequently that happens in 2 different calendar years, which means 2 different tax years. So even though you've sent the money back, you are likely to still get that 1099 in the mail saying you received however many dollars of benefits. And then the kicker comes in, you still have to pay a tax on those benefits even though you sent it back. Then in the following year, you get to deal with the fact that you sent the benefits back. This is where the complication kicks in, because we have to figure your taxes 2 different ways. We have to look at how much tax you paid on the benefits in the prior year, and then look at it as that repayment being a deduction, and see which of those scenarios it works out better for you as on the taxes, to see where you come out ahead. A lot of times people don't feel comfortable doing that whole analysis on their own, and I can't say I blame them.
The only thing that drives me more crazy than taxes? Paying taxes on money that I had to send back, or money that I didn't get.
I can't argue with you on that one.
So you've got a 2-year carryover, and it sounds like a super complicated situation. Navigating that without somebody working with you, to me anyway, I don't love taxes. It would be nigh on impossible. So how did you get to the resolution? It was a lengthy process and still unfolding?
It's still unfolding because we're still working through that process, but we provided some analysis around how the taxes would work and how the repayment worked, and kind of mapped out the next couple of years on how that's all going to flow through their taxes and what it's going to cost them now and what they should be getting back in the future. But part of that's, we're going to have to wait and see how everything pans out over the next couple of years. And that adds risk to the tax picture.
I think I need to add one more important detail here before we go to the break. You can send back, you can undo your Social Security if you've not received 12 payments from them. And I think December would have been his 11th payment. So he has till the end of the year to figure this out, but it's already pretty obvious. It's probably best for him to send it back.
The genie is mostly out of the bottle.
Mostly, but we could poke him back in there.
An entire team looking out for your benefit in retirement, covering all the bases. Perhaps you have a financial advisor or even a CPA that's working for you, but are those 2 communicating directly with each other with you present to make sure that all parties involved are working toward the common goal of the best benefit for you in your retirement? If you'd like to set up a complimentary, no-obligation consultation with our entire team, you can do so. It's a simple phone call to 316-252-8707. We'll be back with the rest of Eye on Retirement right after this.
How confident are you in your current financial plan? Do you know with certainty how the recent market volatility will affect your future hopes and dreams? How much are you paying in taxes? And how much are you losing to unnecessary high fees? You didn't work to save this money so that you could spend your time worried in retirement. Now is the time to take charge of your finances so you can feel confident about your future. Call in during the next 30 minutes of today's show only to set up an absolutely complimentary, no obligation, full-blown financial review that will result in your own customized written plan. We'll start with a full-blown analysis of what you already have. by running a report to untangle how much you are currently paying in fees, how you're allocated for risk, and what it's costing to work with your current advisor. Next, we'll identify your goals. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Where do you want to go, and who do you hope to go there with? Is your current financial plan set up to get you there without mishap? Let's design a roadmap to create a financial plan you can follow with confidence. Get the piece that so many people are missing from their retirement. Find out how having a written plan can make a difference to your retirement dreams. Call now to schedule your complimentary, no-obligation, full-blown financial review today.
Welcome back into Ion Retirement. In the last segment, we were talking about Mark and Deborah. And Matt, Mark and Deborah, recap the story for us, if you would, and then show us how Medicare came into play with this, because it's very interesting.
Sure. Mark was worried that he was going to go over the working income amount since he'd already started his Social Security and was having questions. Should he send it back? What were the tax implications on that? But you got to think, if he's turning off his Social Security and sending it back, but he's already 65 and he's on Medicare, that means he lost his Medicare, right?
Well, one would think.
But
no, that is not how the situation works. So even when you turn 65, the full retirement age being pushed back, a lot of people aren't taking Social Security right at 65, but they still want those Medicare benefits. So you do not have to be drawing Social Security to take Medicare. For Mark's situation, having started Medicare, same time he started Social Security, his Medicare premiums were being paid with his Social Security benefits. They were automatically deducted. So the biggest change that we had to make was, how are we going to go about paying those Medicare premiums? Through their online portals, we're actually able to make monthly payments. You also could make quarterly payments if you wanted to do so through the mail system. But then it raised another big question. Now that he's getting this new contracted job, should he keep his Medicare benefits, or should he take the new insurance that he's being offered? And this is not an uncommon situation. And what we decided was best for Mark was keep going with Medicare. When you compared the monthly cost, they were very similar into what his expense was going to be. But then this added him an extra level of flexibility. He had the opportunity now to wake up, and if one day he decides working is just no longer for him, he doesn't have to worry about where he's going to get his health insurance. He's already set up with Medicare and doesn't have to file all the extra forms and all the new applications. He knew his coverage was right there.
It does make it nice, and it makes more sense to stay on it because you know eventually, at this age and at this stage in your life, you're going to be back to a fully retired status, and so that does sound like the best move indeed. Matt, so somebody is earning all this extra income. Is there a way to set up an entity that will provide the best legal protection for the money, if you will?
Well, I know we just met, and you don't realize that I'm not an attorney, and I can't give advice in that regard. So guess what I did? I went down the hall, and I said, Gerald, this is Mark and Deborah. We've been working with them for years. He knew them. He'd helped them with their estate plan. And we discussed, were there any benefits to him setting up an LLC and running it through that? And then, of course, what the next question was, well, if I set up an LLC, does it have tax benefits to it? And that's probably not even something we have enough time today, but what did you help him do with this LLC?
Well, the important part here was that if he was going to be the sole owner, he was going to be the contract was with him, and so if anything happened to him, there was no means for Deborah to be able to access whatever funds were in the bank account of the LLC. So the concern was not just forming the LLC, because that you can go online and do it in 5 minutes, but it's in creating an LLC that provided so that if something happened to Mark, Deborah would have access to whatever funds were in the bank account and withdraw it. And that requires drafting an operating agreement that provides for that transition in the situation where one of the owner, in this case Mark, passes away. And it's crucial to be able to have that. Otherwise, Deborah, if he had passed away with several money in the account for the LLC, would have to go to the courts and try to get that money through a probate court.
You know, this brings to mind another example of clients that I've met that come around the conference table, and they feel as if because they've done this and such online in the formation of legal documents that they're covered. And Gerald, I know by sharing information with you about clients, you are able to provide much better services than any legal forms that they're going to find online.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, like I said, you had to consider all the permutations of what forming a company is going to have. That's why we have tax advisors, so that we can consider, okay, what is the advantage or disadvantage of taking this position? And so it's constantly, we are looking for opportunities to enhance people's experience in running a business rather than just leave them out there to take care and fare for their own.
Yeah, and one of the things we work together as a team here is just those things. When this engineer wanted to do contract work, wanted to keep doing a little bit of his work, there was everyone here at this table played a part in helping him.
One person's best interests, an entire team looking out for them. If you'd like to set up a complimentary, no obligation consultation, operators are standing by right now to take your call at 316-252-8707. Again, the number to call, 316-252-8707. And be sure and check out our website at ionretirement.com. That's all the time we have this week. We'll see you right back here next week. And remember, in the meantime, we're here to keep an eye on retirement.
Unless otherwise indicated, all client names have been changed to protect their identities. Investment advisory services are offered through Foundations Investment Advisors LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. The content provided is intended for informational and educational purposes only. The views, statements, and opinions expressed herein are those of the individual speakers and not necessarily those of Foundations and its affiliates. The information contained herein does not constitute an offer to sell any securities or represent an express or implied opinion or endorsement of any specific investment opportunity, offering, or issuer. Any discussion of performance or returns are not indicative of future results. Each individual investor situation is different, and any ideas provided may not be appropriate for your particular circumstances. Foundations only transacts business in the states where it is registered or excluded or exempt from registration requirements. Registration as an investment advisor is not an endorsement of the firm by security regulators and does not mean the advisor has achieved a specific level of skill or ability. No legal or tax advice is provided. Always consult with a tax professional. Legal services are offered by Eidelman Law Firm. Tax services offered by Market Tax Services. Market Advisory Group does not provide legal or tax advice. Any comments regarding safe and secure investments and guaranteed income streams refer only to fixed insurance products. They do not in any way refer to investment advisory products. Rates and guarantees provided by insurance products and annuities are subject to the financial strength of the issuing insurance company, not guaranteed by any bank or the FDIC. The guest commentators featured in this show are not investment advisor representatives of Foundations and do not provide advisory services. Market Advisory Group does have several investment advisor representatives that can provide such services. This is not endorsed or affiliated with any U.S. government agency, the Social Security Administration, or associated with any federal Medicare program. We do not offer every plan available in your area. Any information we provide is limited to those plans we do offer in your area. Please contact Medicare.gov or 1-800-MEDICARE to get information on all of your options. All rights reserved.